thank you for inviting me for this chat. And I hope you and your dear ones are all fine in this lockdown period. And please take care of yourself. Now, this question of impact on home textiles, I would like to say that this COVID-19 has been an unprecedented situation, the crisis which has affected worldwide with its implications on physical, social, and economic well-being of mankind in general. I don't think there is any country or any industry which would not have been impacted by this COVID-19 pandemic. I would say that impact on various industries and various segments is still to be, I would say, still unknown because of various reasons. One, because of the virus trajectory, which is unknown, effectiveness of containment efforts is yet to be fully established, and behavior of consumer, companies, and customers, and their reaction to this. This is still little known, I would say. But having said so, I would say that home textile industry across the globe has definitely impacted with the close down of the stores, brick and mortar stores all across the world, and also because of fear of job loss, fear of incomes, and close down of the mills. So there has been a very, very cumulative impact on the industry. If you look at the various segments of home textiles, I would say bed and bath, furnishing, hygiene, and if we take the overall impact, I foresee that the overall demand would reduce by almost 25-30% globally, which covers all segments. For example, if you look at bed and bath, it may be little less impacted and it may also get back to recovery little better, little sooner. Similarly, if you look at hygiene, which would be least impacted once we open the lockdown as well, or even during the lockdown. But if you look at furnishing, this could be one segment which could be impacted the most because of this. This is a, I would say, discretionary spend. When it comes to discretionary spend, I think this will be least preferred and it will rebound at a little later date. However, I would say that because of functionalities involved in this business, that we can have functional textiles, even for home textile, for example, we can have various finishes for upholstery, for curtains. This could help us to revive, to come back little sooner. So this is my take that overall, generally, if you look at for the next at least 2 to 3 quarters, there will be impact of almost 25-30% of the sales worldwide on this segment. As far as India is concerned, yes, we have started the manufacturing process in almost all our mills of yarn and home textiles. We had a lockdown period ranging from 25 days to 35 days across the mills here in India. As far as US is concerned, we don't have a manufacturing on our own in US. We have distribution, we have sales. So that office was closed, people were working from home, and our distribution was on. Luckily that our distribution center did not stop for many days. So there has been distribution from our distribution center in planes. So that was something which we could do in US. Whatever was being asked for has been dispatched. So we were working in US during this period of lockdown, maybe little at a lesser rate, but we were doing that. India, we started, as I said. As far as our business is concerned, in terms of spinning, there was a lockdown, the mills were closed, so there was no production at all. We had orders in hand, and I'm happy to say that our orders, which we had and which we had to produce, I would say that the percentage of cancellation is there. I mean, it's not that it's not there, but still, thanks to our clients that we are managing that business. and our dispatches are now on. So we'll see that if we can get back to the normal, a new normal in shortest possible time. But definitely it will take some time to go back to normal. Going forward in next couple of quarters with this reverse migration of workmen to various states from the mills from all over India. I mean, going back to the states in Bihar, UP, or Odisha, this might have, and I'm sure this will have impact on the businesses going forward, at least for next 2 quarters. So I would say that yes, there is all textile mills are impacted. So are we, and especially on our home textile segment, we have orders, we have some hold ons as well across the world. So we are with all the industry, so we are equally impacted. First of all, I would say that before the lockdown started on 18th of March, we wrote to all our customers informing them what's going on, what's the situation, and we'll be working. Our teams will be working from remote areas. We'll partially, sometimes we might have to, there will be some delays in our communication, but we'll take care of that. And this was well taken by our customers. They responded back. And then when once the lockdown happened, we again interacted with them over emails, over phones, over Skype meetings, that this is the situation on the ground. And I'm happy to say that each one of the customers whom we contacted and whom we interacted with accepted that situation, understood us, and gave us assurance that they'll be with us in these times. Subsequent to this, when some of the markets opened up, US was working a little bit on this on home textile side. So we have had virtual meetings with them. So our team, our design team, our manufacturing team, sales team, they all had interaction. Even I had interaction with the customers across the world in home textiles. So we have been engaging with our customers very well over the last 50 days. If we look at the rebound and if we look at the trajectory of this pandemic as compared to any other in the past, I would say, for example, SARS of 2003 or financial meltdown of 2008, they were a little different than these. In this one, we have a total supply chain break. We have this, what has been impacted is the supply, demand is impacted. There is a structural change which has happened and which is different in this case. So now economy to bounce back in either V, what is normally said V, U, or L, I would little bit say that there is another dimension which I recently learned, which could be sawtooth, where it will start, it will be back, it will start. So this is something which is little more taxing as compared to U, but maybe a little better than L. But yes, I think uh, our economy in India should have some advantage over any other country to bounce back in between, I would say, U and maybe sawtooth. Now, to do that, the first and the foremost thing is we have to be very, very resilient. We have to be very, very compassionate. And we should not go by the projections. Now, in my opinion, businesses should learn that we cannot go by the projections of even pre COVID or even now, because now even we are not sure of consumer behavior. What is it going to happen once the lockdowns are open across the countries? And also, it will depend a lot on how long these lockdowns carry on. If the lockdown goes for 70 days, 100 days, the impact would be different. So our uh, response to these impact would also be different. So I would say the managements have to look at, first of all, it was a survival mode for all of us, where we had to see cash, we had to see the well-being of our people, of our staff, and I'm glad as Satluj we could tide over that situation very well in the last 50 days of lockdown, and that we have done. Now, the next for any business to do is stabilization. So for stabilization, this has to be a midterm strategy. This cannot be a long-term one. It has to be midterm. Re-engage with the workforce. We have to all re-engage with our workforce. Then we have to fix the broken supply chains. Then how to get agile manufacturing, low cost. We have to control our cost. And above all, I would say that we have to engage with our customer. Here I say, I would use a term called customer obsession, which is little different than customer engagement. Now, when I say that from stabilization, we move on to drive. After all, we businesses have to get back to the normal, or I would say new normal. We have to be on the growth path. So we have to drive it. It may come in 3 quarters, 4 quarters, even I do not know yet. But there comes the customer obsession. There comes innovation. We have to go to the customer, not what he needs today. We have to create a need for them, for something new, by presenting something new in the segment. So that is what I mean by customer obsession. Now, the business models going forward to tide over this crisis will be depending a lot how companies get into this sort of obsession called customer obsession. We have to innovate. We have to get to the new product. We have to go and tell them this is something which you may need. That means our customers may need to sell in future. For example, we have to go to the retailer to give us some product which they can sell on the retail shelf. So this is what the companies will have to do, and we in Sutlej are no different. We would like to get into this, getting new products, getting to the customer, showcasing that, explaining that, and be with them in this time of crisis. So this is my take that we have to go through survival, stabilization, and drive mode. All of us in business have to do that. I wish I would have been an astrologer to say that yes, we'll get back to pre-COVID. If you say pre-COVID numbers, in my opinion, by any stretch of optimism, would take at least 4 to 5 quarters, at least. Why? In India, because of two things. One, the good news is that we have a big local economy. We have a local consumption. So, which is a good news. The other one is that even before this COVID started, our economy, especially in textile, we were a little bit slow. So this has added to further, I would say, sluggishness in textile business over a period of time. Number one. Number two, to get back to the normal, we would need to stabilize the entire supply chain. So which would mean our orders, then getting the manufacturing, which will definitely be impacted by this reverse migration of people. So I see that reverse migration to tackle this issue will take at least 2 quarters. Because today, when these workers have gone back to villages, to get them back would take about not less than a couple of months. So I would say that on the optimistic note, it will take about 4 to 6 quarters to get back to that.